walking into what you think is your family's Christmas Eve dinner, only to find completely empty rooms and a single note on the table that says, "For 10 years, I've been your maid and babysitter. This year, I chose myself." The panic that followed was worth every year of being taken for granted. Before we dive into this Christmas revenge story, I'm curious. Where are you watching from right now, and what time is it for you? Comment down below. If you've ever felt like the family member everyone takes for granted during the holidays, this story will hit deep. Smash that like button if you believe sometimes you have to choose yourself first, and subscribe because family justice this satisfying deserves an audience. My name is Linda, and for 10 years, Christmas Eve meant one thing. I became my family's unpaid servant while they enjoyed themselves at my expense. It started innocently enough when I bought my first house at 26. I was so proud of having my own place, a cozy 3-bedroom ranch with a big kitchen and dining room that seemed perfect for entertaining. That first Christmas, I invited everyone over, excited to host my first family holiday. My brother Kevin and his wife Patricia showed up with their 3 kids, Emma, age 7, Tyler, age 5, and baby Sophia. My parents, Mary and Paul, arrived with criticism disguised as helpful suggestions. But that first year, I didn't mind. It felt like being a real adult, hosting Christmas Eve dinner for the people I loved most. Somewhere along the way, though, hosting became expected. Then expectations became demanded. Then demands became taken for granted. By year 3, the pattern was set in stone. Kevin and Patricia would arrive at my house around 4 o'clock on Christmas Eve, immediately disappear into the living room with drinks, and leave me to watch their children while simultaneously preparing dinner for 8 people. The kids weren't badly behaved, but they were kids. They spilled things, they got cranky when they were hungry, and they needed constant attention while I was trying to cook a turkey, mash potatoes, and make sure the green bean casserole didn't burn. Meanwhile, my parents would walk through my house like inspectors, pointing out everything I was doing wrong. "Linda, this gravy is too thin. Linda, why didn't you make stuffing from scratch? Linda, the children are being too loud. Can't you control them better?" Kevin and Patricia, of course, were oblivious to the chaos. They'd settled into my comfortable chairs with their wine, catching up and relaxing, while I ran myself ragged trying to create the perfect Christmas Eve experience for everyone else. By the time dinner was served, I was exhausted, stressed, and usually on the verge of tears. But the night was far from over. After dinner, while everyone else moved to the living room to open presents and enjoy dessert, I was left alone in the kitchen to clean up the disaster. Pots and pans everywhere, dishes stacked to the ceiling, food remnants ground into my dining room carpet by excited children. When my boyfriend Steven started joining us 3 years ago, he was shocked by the dynamic. The first Christmas Eve he witnessed, he quietly helped me in the kitchen afterward, his face tight with anger. "Linda, why are you doing all of this alone?" he asked, as we loaded the dishwasher for the 3rd time that evening. "It's my house," I said automatically. "I'm the host." "No," he said firmly. "You're being used. There's a difference." But changing a decade-old family tradition felt impossible. Every time I tried to suggest that maybe we could potluck-style Christmas Eve, or maybe rotate houses, or maybe everyone could help clean up, I was met with the same responses. "Kevin, come on, Linda, your house is perfect for this. Besides, you're so good at hosting." "Patricia, we'd love to help, but the kids get overwhelmed in new places. They're so comfortable at your house." My parents. "Linda, don't be difficult, it's Christmas, the family is supposed to come together." The unspoken message was clear. My comfort didn't matter. My exhaustion didn't matter. My desire to actually enjoy Christmas Eve didn't matter. What mattered was that everyone else got to have a relaxing, magical holiday experience, and I was the one responsible for making that happen. Last year was the breaking point, though I didn't realize it at the time. Steven and I had been talking about marriage, and I was hoping, desperately hoping, that he might propose on Christmas Eve. We'd been together for 3 years, and he'd been hinting about taking the next step. I'd even bought a new dress, something beautiful and festive that made me feel special. But Christmas Eve unfolded like every other year. Kevin and Patricia arrived and immediately claimed my living room. The kids spilled grape juice on my carpet within the first hour. My parents criticized everything from my choice of tablecloth to the way I'd arranged the presents under the tree. I spent the entire evening in my kitchen, sweating over the stove in my beautiful new dress, which ended up stained with gravy and turkey grease. By the time everyone left at 10 o'clock, I was sobbing in my kitchen, while Steven held me and rubbed my back. "This has to stop," he said quietly. Linda, they're treating you like hired help, not family. But it's Christmas, I whispered. It's tradition. Tradition is supposed to bring joy, Stephen said. This isn't tradition, this is exploitation. That night, after we'd finally finished cleaning up, I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, wondering why I'd spent another Christmas Eve feeling miserable in my own home. Why did I keep subjecting myself to this? Why did I keep enabling my family's selfishness? The answer was simple and devastating. Because I'd never believed I deserved better. The months between last Christmas and this one were filled with small moments that built into a crushing realization. My family didn't just take me for granted during the holidays. They took me for granted all year long. Kevin called me every few weeks with emergencies that required me to drop everything and babysit. Patricia would text me last-minute requests to pick up groceries for them when I was already at the store. My parents expected me to drive the 40 minutes to their house every Sunday for dinner, but they'd visited me exactly twice in the past year. Meanwhile, when I needed help, when I was sick with the flu, when my car broke down, when I had a work crisis, my family was mysteriously unavailable, too busy, too tired, too stressed with their own problems. Stephen watched this pattern with increasing frustration. Linda, you bend over backward for people who wouldn't cross the street for you, he said one evening, after Kevin had called to cancel babysitting Tyler at the last minute, leaving us to rearrange our anniversary dinner plans. They're family, I said weakly. So are you, Stephen replied, but they don't treat you like it. As October turned into November, the Christmas Eve anxiety started building in my chest like it did every year. The familiar dread, the knowledge that I'd spend weeks preparing for one evening that would leave me exhausted and unappreciated. But this year felt different. This year I found myself lying awake at night, not planning menus and decorations, but fantasizing about what it would feel like to just not do it. What would happen if I simply wasn't available for Christmas Eve? What would happen if I chose myself for once? The fantasy felt dangerous and thrilling and impossible all at once. In mid-November, Kevin called to confirm Christmas Eve plans. Not ask about them, not discuss them, confirm them, as if my participation was a given. Same as always, right? He said cheerfully. We'll be over around 4. Patricia's been craving your stuffing all year. Something in his casual assumption that I'd be available made my stomach clench. Kevin, I haven't actually confirmed that I'm hosting this year. There was a pause. What do you mean? I mean, maybe we should talk about doing something different this year. Maybe rotating houses or… Linda, come on, your house is perfect for Christmas Eve, the kids are used to it. Besides, Patricia and I don't really have the space to host 8 people. But what if I have other plans? Kevin laughed. Other plans, like what? The dismissal in his voice was like a slap. Like what? Like a life outside of serving my family? Like desires and dreams that didn't revolve around their comfort? I just think maybe it's time to switch things up, I said, my voice smaller than I wanted it to be. Linda, don't be weird about this. It's Christmas. We need tradition, especially for the kids. You know how much they love Christmas Eve at Aunt Linda's house. After I hung up, I sat in my kitchen staring at the phone, feeling something crystallize in my chest. It wasn't anger exactly, though that was part of it. It was clarity. Kevin hadn't asked me what I wanted. He hadn't considered that I might have other plans, other dreams, other ways I'd like to spend Christmas Eve. He'd simply assumed that I existed to make his family's holiday magical, and when I'd tried to push back even gently, he'd dismissed my feelings entirely. That night, I called my parents to test the waters. Maybe they'd be more understanding, more willing to consider alternatives. Mom, I was thinking about Christmas Eve this year. Oh, good, I'm so glad you called. Your father and I were hoping you could do that green bean casserole with the crispy onions again. It was so good last year. Actually, I was wondering if maybe we could try something different this year. Maybe everyone could bring a dish, or… Linda, honey, you know how much we love Christmas Eve at your house. It's become such a lovely tradition. Besides, your father's back has been bothering him, and it's so nice to just relax when we come over. Relax. While I worked myself into exhaustion making sure everyone else could relax. But what if I wanted to relax too? I asked quietly. Oh, sweetie, you love hosting. You're so good at it, and honestly, nobody else has the space or the skills to pull off Christmas Eve the way you do. The way she said it, like my exhaustion was a source of pride, like being good at something meant I was obligated to keep doing it forever. made something break inside me. That's when I knew. This Christmas Eve would be different. Not because I was going to confront them or have a big dramatic fight, but because I was finally going to choose myself. Planning my Christmas Eve escape felt like the most rebellious thing I'd ever done, and also the most necessary. I started small, 2 weeks before Christmas. I called my landlord, Mr. Peterson, and explained that I'd be traveling for the holidays and wanted to suspend access to my spare key that I kept with the building management for emergencies. "Of course, Linda," he said kindly. "Going anywhere special?" "Just visiting friends," I replied, which wasn't technically a lie. Next, I reached out to my college friend Jennifer, who owned a cabin about 2 hours away in the mountains. She'd been inviting Stephen and me to visit for years, but we'd never taken her up on it because of family obligations. "Jennifer, this might sound crazy, but are you free on Christmas Eve? I was wondering if Stephen and I could possibly stay at your cabin." "Linda, of course. I'd love to have you. What's the occasion?" "I'm choosing myself for Christmas this year," I said. And saying it out loud felt like stepping off a cliff. Jennifer was quiet for a moment, then laughed. "Good for you, it's about damn time." The cabin was perfect. Remote enough that I wouldn't be tempted to rush back if my family guilted me, but cozy enough that Stephen and I could have the romantic Christmas Eve we'd never been able to have. Jennifer stocked it with firewood, hot chocolate, and even a small Christmas tree. "Consider it my gift to you," she said when I tried to pay her. "Everyone deserves at least one Christmas where they get to be selfish." The hardest part was keeping the plan secret from Stephen until the last minute. I knew he'd support me, but I also knew he'd worry about the fallout. It was easier to present it as a done deal. On December 23rd, I packed 2 suitcases, one for me, one for Stephen, and hid them in my car. I went through my house, removing all the Christmas decorations I'd put up out of habit, leaving just enough to make it look like I'd started decorating but hadn't finished. I bought ingredients for Christmas Eve dinner as usual, in case anyone checked my grocery receipts later, but I donated all the food to a local shelter instead of bringing it home. On Christmas Eve morning, I set the table with just 2 place settings, beautiful china that had belonged to my grandmother, candles that I'd been saving for a special occasion that never seemed to come. For the first time in years, my dining room looked elegant instead of chaotic. Then I wrote the note. It took me 6 drafts to get it right, long enough to explain, short enough to have impact. "For 10 years, I've been your maid and babysitter every Christmas Eve. I've cooked, cleaned, and catered to everyone while you relaxed in my living room. This year I chose myself. I hope you understand someday that I deserve to enjoy Christmas too. There's a lovely restaurant downtown that takes reservations. Merry Christmas. Mary Linda." At 3 o'clock, an hour before my family was due to arrive, Stephen came over to find me standing in my empty dining room in a beautiful red dress, car keys in hand. "Linda, what's going on?" "We're going to have Christmas Eve at Jennifer's cabin," I said, my heart pounding. "Just the 2 of us. No cooking, no cleaning, no babysitting. Just us." Stephen's face went through several emotions: surprise, concern, and then pure joy. "Are you serious?" "I've never been more serious about anything in my life." "What about your family?" I gestured to the note on the table. "They'll figure it out." Stephen read the note, then looked at me with something like awe. "Linda, are you sure? They're going to be furious." "They've been taking me for granted for 10 years, I said. "Maybe a little fury will help them appreciate what they've been missing." We loaded our suitcases into the car, and I took one last look at my empty, peaceful house. For the first time in a decade, my dining room table wasn't covered with serving dishes and chaos. It was elegant, serene, waiting for a Christmas Eve that would never come. At least, not the kind of Christmas Eve my family expected. As we drove away, my phone was already buzzing with texts from Patricia asking if she should bring anything, from my mother asking what time we should arrive for appetizers. In a few hours, they'd get their answer. At exactly 4 o'clock, while Stephen and I were settling into Jennifer's cabin with mugs of hot chocolate and a roaring fire, my family was using their key to let themselves into my house. I can only imagine their confusion. Kevin calling out, "Linda, we're here," and getting no response. Patricia walked into the kitchen expecting to find me frantically preparing dinner, only to discover empty counters and a cold stove. My mother's voice, probably getting sharper. "Linda, where are you?" The kids run through the house looking for their aunt, finding no presents under the tree, no cookies on the counter, no signs of the Christmas Eve magic they'd come to expect. And then, finally, someone noticed the note on the dining room table. My phone started ringing at 4:17 p.m. Kevin's name on the screen. I let it go to voicemail. It rang again, immediately. Patricia this time. Voicemail. Then my mother. Voicemail. My father. Voicemail. Kevin again. Voicemail. By 5:30, I had 14 missed calls and a stream of text messages that started confused and quickly escalated to angry. Kevin, where are you? The kids are asking for you. Patricia, Linda, this isn't funny. We're hungry and the kids are getting cranky. Mom. Linda, call us immediately. This is very inconsiderate. Dad, your mother is very upset. Come home right now. Kevin, are you seriously going to ruin Christmas for 3 innocent children? Patricia, I can't believe you're being this selfish. Mom. After everything we've done for you, this is how you repay us? Kevin. Fine, we'll figure it out ourselves. But don't expect us to forget this. Stephen read the messages over my shoulder as they came in, his face getting darker with each one. Linda, look at these. Not one of them is asking if you're okay or safe. They're all angry that you're not there to serve them. He was right. In 14 missed calls and 27 text messages, not a single member of my family had expressed concern for my well-being. They were upset that their Christmas Eve servant had disappeared, not that their daughter and sister might be in trouble. The last message came from Kevin at 8:43 p.m. We ended up ordering pizza and driving to 3 different gas stations to find ice cream for dessert. The kids cried, Mom has a headache. I hope you're happy. Actually, I was. Stephen and I had spent the evening cooking together in Jennifer's tiny cabin kitchen. Nothing elaborate, just steaks and roasted vegetables and a bottle of wine we'd been saving. We ate by candlelight, talked for hours, and opened small presents for each other by the fire. For the first time in 10 years, I enjoyed Christmas Eve. I laughed. I relaxed. I felt beautiful in my red dress instead of frazzled and exhausted. Stephen told me I was glowing, and I believed him. We fell asleep on the couch in front of the fireplace, wrapped in blankets, completely at peace. Christmas morning brought a new wave of messages, but these were different, calmer, more manipulative. Mom. Linda, sweetie, I know you're upset about something. Let's talk about it like adults. Patricia. The kids kept asking where Aunt Linda was. Emma cried herself to sleep. Kevin. I don't know what we did wrong, but we can work this out. Dad. Your mother didn't sleep all night. She's worried sick about you. The guilt-tripping was expertly crafted, designed to make me feel selfish and cruel for choosing my own happiness over their comfort. A year ago it might have worked. I might have rushed home with apologies and promises to make it up to them. But spending one perfect evening prioritizing my own needs had given me clarity I'd never had before. These messages weren't about love or concern. They were about control. They were about making me feel guilty for setting boundaries. I turned off my phone and spent Christmas Day hiking through the snow-covered mountains with Stephen, feeling lighter than I had in years. When we returned home on December 26th, I found a voicemail from my mother that was different from the others. Linda, I've been thinking about Christmas Eve, about the note you left. Maybe we have been taking you for granted. Your father and I would like to talk, when you're ready. Kevin's voicemail was less apologetic but more honest. Look, I guess I never really thought about how much work you put into Christmas Eve. The kids missed you. We all did. Maybe we can figure out a better way to do this next year. Even Patricia had left a message. Linda, I'm sorry if we made you feel unappreciated. I know you work hard to make Christmas special for everyone. We should have helped more. But the most important realization wasn't in their messages. It was in my own heart. For 10 years I'd been afraid that if I didn't make Christmas perfect for my family, I'd lose their love. But what I'd discovered was that constantly sacrificing my own happiness hadn't earned me their love. It had earned me their expectation that I'd continue sacrificing. Real love doesn't require you to exhaust yourself for others' comfort. Real love doesn't dismiss your needs or take your efforts for granted. Real love appreciates what you give and never demands what you can't. This year, I'm hosting Christmas Eve again. But it's different now. Kevin and Patricia are bringing side dishes. My parents are handling dessert. Everyone is staying to help clean up. And for the first time in a decade, I'll actually get to enjoy the party I'm throwing. Sometimes the most powerful gift you can give yourself is the word no. And sometimes the people who claim to love you need to lose your constant yes before they can appreciate what they've been given. My family learned that love isn't a servant's duty, it's a choice. And this year, for the first time, I'm choosing to stay because I want to be there, not because I'm expected to be. That empty house on Christmas Eve taught them something I'd been trying to show them for years. I'm not their maid, their babysitter, or their holiday coordinator. I'm their family, and I deserve to be treated like it. If this story resonated with you, you're not alone. So many of us have family members who mistake our kindness for obligation. Drop a comment telling me about a time you finally chose yourself over family expectations. I read every single one. And if you enjoyed this story about setting boundaries during the holidays, smash that subscribe button, because we've got more family justice stories that'll make you want to prioritize your own happiness. Remember, you can't pour from an empty cup, and sometimes the people who love you need a reminder of that.